Hi, friend. How you doing, man?
I'm good. Thank you for coming on the show.
Dude, it's weird. I usually have a notebook in front of me when I do the interviews, but it's weird being on the
Mhm.
big screen than being on the little tiny corner. It's a weird change. It's funny being. I'm nervous on this stream right now. Like I think my hands are a little shaky. I don't know why, but I'm a little
Because
bit
you are the
nervous.
one. You are now the one that's going to be under the lights in the questions, being asked the ones that all these 20 questions that you normally run through, and some extra that I got up my sleeve. So, who are you? What do you do? And how long have you been doing it for?
Well, I am Ben. Most people know me as Nahamsek online. I am
Mhm.
currently the head of hacker education at HackerOne, and I design CTFs and have some fun with our hackers, and I ridicule them and bully our hackers into doing CTFs and get hate mail. And I've been doing bug bounties since 2014, 2015 probably, early 2014 I want to say, and I've been stuck and addicted to it since.
That's so cool. So I'm curious. You say that you started doing bounties somewhere around 2014, right? And
Mhm.
but how did you get into hacking at all? How did it begin for you? I know you were a club kid before, so how did you switch over to the nerd side?
Yeah, so the hacking thing came out a little random. Let me fix my camera. I feel like I'm a little blurry. There we go. Um, the hacking thing happened as a kid. Like when I was doing it, I didn't know what I did was considered hacking at all. I thought I was just being smart and being a little kid trying to get into my brother's computer. So being a younger brother, I had an older brother, obviously. Being the younger kid in the family, I had to always pick up after the big one. Like I couldn't go on the computer. It was his computer. I would have to wait for him to be done. It was, he would put a password and not let me go on there. So I learned about like, okay, brute forcing passwords. I know my brother. I know what he likes. Let's try every keyword I know that he might like. I would get in. And then he got smart and he started putting the password. So you have the Windows password, right?
Yeah.
So I found a way
Were you
that
running XP or or Vista here?
this is
Or are
like
we talking way
XP,
back?
like yeah, this is like a little bit before XP even. Like XP was the peak of it.
Mm.
But like in the beginning, you had the Windows XP password, right? So I figured out, oh, you can do administrator. Like if the admin account is enabled, I don't need this account. I can just log in as admin and do what I want. So he got smart. He started putting a password on boot. Then I found out these boot passwords or BIOS have hard-coded passwords that you can credentials that you can find default credentials. I would look them up at a friend's house. I would go back and bypass it. I didn't know this was hacking, but
It's like a default password for printers, like 8 zeros in a row, and you get in. Like that,
dude,
the kind of manufacturing backdoor. Sick.
the default password thing has been a fun ride since I was a kid. But yeah, that's how it all started. And then I got into web hosting. I was 12, 13. I really wanted to make money. My dad, God bless him, he's always been a big support of my like entrepreneurship days. I've failed over and over and over with giving me startup funds as a kid. But he gave me web hosting. It's like, okay, you're into computers, you want to build websites. I'll give you some money, become a cPanel reseller. I got a reselling account for web
Mhm.
hosting, and then my web hosting got hacked, and I was like, okay, screw this.
Oh
Like,
crap.
I gotta learn how to do this. And then I started defending, like I did, like IT network stuff, like locking down permissions, setting up PHP, blocking PHP functions so you can't run a shell on the box. And then I was like, why am I doing this boring shit? Like, I want to be the one that does the shelling. I want to do the hacking, not the fixing. I don't want to be the one that fails at fixing it. I want to be the one that gets in. So I got into hacking. I installed a lot of like this PHP scripts. I think like scripts online or some website like that. I would go into, download scripts, install them, hack them, like find bugs in them, report them. Rest in peace, Melworm, Security Focus, like all those smaller groups. And then bug bounties happened. I took a break for a few years. I went to college and got into partying very hardcore. That I said rest in piss. I'm sorry. I know you guys all caught that. But yeah, I got into partying. I let go of hacking because I thought I was gonna not go anywhere. Here comes 23, 24-year-old me, finds out that Yahoo, Google, and Facebook are paying bounties.
Oh, interesting. First off, we need to give a little bit of shout out to the sysadmins. We can't just There's a lot of people working on the blue side trying to defend stuff. Like we know you, if you're trying to defend something against other stuff and people just break it down, you understand how fucking hard it is. Anyway,
respect for that, man. It's a lot of work. It's just to get it. Like, it's not easy work. It wasn't for me because it wasn't that much of an easy work to do. It's always something that you have to keep up with.
That's how it is. Always love the blue side. So I'm curious though. So you went to college. Did you get a degree?
I got a degree in computer science with a focus on
like for real, like computer science. You are computer science degree college.
Yes, I used to have my computer science degree in the background back in the day when I was streaming from my other office. But to be honest though, like, if you have the money, if you have a scholarship, if you are a person of like, I'm not an academia, like I can't go to academic stuff. I can't study on my own. I mean, I can't study with someone else's curriculum. I don't want to go to class. I don't want to do homework. I want to do it on my terms. I did it because I was stuck. Like, I already started it. I jumped from degree to degree. Then I realized like I have 2 more years to finish. I found out about bug bounties. I went on probation in college because I wasn't really performing and I was hacking in class, like not even paying attention anymore. But I had 1.5 years left on probation. It was either I finish or I get kicked out of school. So I finished. But I didn't learn anything from it really.
Are you at this stage?
Huh?
How old are you at that stage when you have to finish the CS course?
So at 23-ish is when I was like, okay, like I have 1.5 years left, dude. Like you're gonna get kicked out and be embarrassed of getting kicked out of college for hacking and, you know, not wanting to pay attention in class, or you do both. You finish and you still build your career by hacking bug bounties.
And indeed you did. The head-to-head with Yassine are infamous. So
shout out to YouTube for all this though, because I couldn't have graduated college if it wasn't for YouTube. I learned Calc 1, Calc 2, and Calculus 3 all on YouTube, so I can hack.
Thank you to all the amazing content creators out there that create educational material. It doesn't need to be computers related. If you're into craft, there's amazing stuff to go around today. Learning skills online is amazing. This almost felt like a Skillshare ad for a second, but it wasn't. Anyway,
we're not sponsored by any Skillshare adding.
We are
right
not,
now. This is not a sponsor
by Skillshare. So I'm curious though. So would you recommend anyone today, like to say that get a CS degree because that's going to give you a leg up, or is that not needed?
If you're a good school like student, if you have good grades, if you can go to a good school. I went to a random school in my city. I went to a state university.
Random?
Like it was. I didn't go to like a big school, right? I didn't go to like a UC Berkeley or UCLA or I don't know. Like I didn't go to a big university. I went to some local university that was in the city that was good for nursing and criminal justice were the top 2 things for them, not computer science. So if you're going to do a computer science degree, go to a school that's known for computer degrees. Like don't go to a school that's for nursing like I did. And then 2 is if you have good grades, go do it. If school's for you, go do it. If you're someone that doesn't know how to program and they can't learn on their own, yes, go to school. Please go to school. But if you think that you have good productivity skills, you know how to you have self-control, you know how to manage your time good at 18, because most 18-year-olds, at least I didn't know how to do it. I was, drinking a lot more than I managed my time, to be honest. Then yes, go to school. Otherwise, no. You can learn everything with today's world, man. Like with all these new resources that are out in 2020, you don't need to go to a school. It's free. It's in some cases to learn stuff.
I can totally relate to that. I didn't go to any fancy college thing. I studied to be a chef because I wanted to be able to, get a job anywhere in the world at any time. So I wanted to be able to cook food, and because I know people's always going to eat, right? So I did that because I just couldn't do. I couldn't do homework. Homework.
Follow your passion, man. That's all it is.
Yeah, that's true. But what do you think about certificates then? Certs like OCP, all those other ones.
So certs are almost the same as going to a school for me. Like you're still following someone's curriculum. But I respect the crap out of these certs because they show you how to do things in a very small amount of time. So OSCP, like the thing that I recommend people is go get your OSCP if you want to break into InfoSec. If you have zero experience with InfoSec, you want to get in there, you want to learn hacking and learn how things work, go do your OSCP. You're going to get past HR for interviews. You know, the first thing they're going to look at is certificates. If you have OSCP, CEH, I'm going to roll my eyes, CISSP, whatever else, like there's out there, all these like random letters and certificates. If you have the money, go for it. But it costs money to get these. But it doesn't mean that you can't go and learn stuff. Like I wanted to do my OSCP, but I'm too lazy to go take the test. I started doing TryHackMe's, OSCP course because it teaches you everything you need to know. But I don't need a certificate. I'm at a point at my career that I don't need a certificate to prove that I know this stuff. But if you're a junior pen tester that needs to have something on your resume, absolutely, go and do it.
I still regret that I didn't do the final test on the OSCP. I pawned like 45 boxes or something, and then after that I just said, okay, I know how to do this now. And because I really just want to do the labs. I thought the labs were hilariously fun, so I really regret not doing that all the way now. But so I definitely agree, there's so much to learning that, but you can also learn that through, I don't know, like Hack the Box, TryHackMe, and all these other sites today. There's so much vulnerable websites practice grounds for you to play around with. So I definitely think it has changed. Like, when did TryHackMe come out? Is it like a couple of years ago, or is it recent?
TryHackMe has been around for a few years. I remember people telling me to do TryHackMe in the earlier days of my stream, but it doesn't matter what platform you choose, man. Like when I first started doing bug bounties in 2014, 2015, my only resources were OWASP Top 10, DVWA, and Metasploitable.
Yeah.
There wasn't a hacker one. I think Pentester Lab was just very, very brand new. It was coming out a few years later. But and Hack the Box, they've been around for a very long time. But for just bug bounties, that wasn't around. Now you have all these like Websec Academy. You have Hacker 101. You have like all these different things you can do to learn. Those weren't around when we wanted to get started in those, in early years of bug bounties at least.
But I'm curious, though. Do you have a web developer's background? Since you talked about hosting, did you program at all at that time?
I did some WordPress stuff. I designed some small PHP sites, like very, very small PHP sites. But I don't know anything about. I don't know a lot about programming. I don't say anything because that's not really a fair representation. I don't want to give out the wrong message. I've learned programming. Like I learned 10-15% of the language just so I can understand how it works. Okay, this is how Ruby works. Cool. Like now I can sit down, kind of look at how-to guides and figure out how to write this tool. Same thing with JavaScript. Like I can read it enough to understand, okay, this is the endpoint. This is what it expects. Cool. Next thing, But I haven't designed, like I'm not a full stack developer. I don't have a huge background in designing sites. I've just done my fair share of like templating and WordPress sites and that sort of stuff.
It's a requirement to be able to do coding to get into bounties?
For what I want to say is like low level hacking, no. If you're looking for XSS, CSRF, IDOR, even SSRF to a certain extent, like the low level, easy, low hanging SSRFs. No, you just have to understand how these things work. Why do they work? It's basic HTML. It's basic, TCP for like, well, I don't say TCP for SSRF, but it's kind of just like understanding how a browser really works and tricking it to do stuff you want it to do. Basics of networking, for example, like IP space. Like, okay, what's a private network? What IPs are in there? What is a port? What ports do I look for that are common in an internal network, right? You don't need to be a programmer, but if you haven't designed any websites or you haven't, so what I did instead of designing websites, I read book that explained the process of building websites. So I know what they think when they build these things. So I can assume what's going on. And I've spent countless hours looking at random websites that's made up for my lack of good programming skills that I don't have.
So most basic stuff doesn't really matter, but if you want to get really deep into it, you need to at least know, you need to be able to read code or understand logic inside the code to be able to do it. And a follow-up question on that, do you need to know Python to be able to do bounties?
You don't need Python you don't need anything to do bounties, man. It's like, it doesn't have to be a specific thing. I recommend doing Python or Bash. To learn some scripting, Python seems to be the best one. I don't do any Python. to be honest. Like, I don't really enjoy writing code. I enjoy the crap out of Bash. I get everything done in Bash. So picking up a
Later
scripting,
Recon.sh.
yeah, that was a that was just an example of like, hey, you don't have to be. If you look at the code, it's garbage. That's just from like 3 years ago when I just started doing some automation. But it got the job done, and the whole point was I put myself out there to say, look, my code is absolute garbage, but guess what? It's got me bounties and it saved me a ton of time.
Oh, that's true. Interesting. So, do you play any CTFs?
I do now on stream.
Except Try Hack Me, though. Like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I do some. I did like chat. What was the one that we just recently did? We did something online. I did some of them. I don't do anything outside of web really because I don't have the skill sets for it. I will do some puzzles maybe. I'll do some mobile stuff. I'll dabble in there. I did the we won the B-side San Francisco CTF with what we called Memesake. Big shout out to Dan, ZLZ, Mason Hacks, who's in here. He was a part of that team. He's the reason why that team was formed, actually. So Mason, if you're in here, shout out to you. And it was a bunch of Spectres. Yeah, Spectres was there. Big shout outs to him, Nico. We just got together as we didn't even think we were gonna win, but we ended up winning. And I've done it only once, and I've enjoyed it. But I got carried because I did the web stuff, and afterwards it was just, what do we do now?
Cool. I definitely, because I remember when we were playing King on the Hill with John and Superhero and Ash Fox and those guys, and that was tricky. and just getting in and then defending and then just kicking out. Yeah, it takes a certain mindset. So do you think CTFs, playing like real CTFs and not these normal ones, would help you with hacking or bug bounties?
I think anything that requires you to learn a new skill set in a form of a CTF, yes. Whether it's try hack me rooms, hack the box, rooms or boxes, whatever they call them, or just purely doing those CTFs. What I've realized with the new generation of CTFs is that, especially with the web ones, they're no longer creating random, how do I make it as hard as possible? They actually are using bug bounty things that have been disclosed. Techniques that you see bug bounties getting disclosed, they're going into CTFs. Again, another example, besides San Francisco, one of the CTF challenges that we were stuck on, we realized was donuts, CSRF or CSS injection. It was random to B-side. Yeah, it's just, it gives you the whole point of CTF is two things. Make you learn something new that you didn't know about more than likely. And two, get you to think outside the box with the hacker mentality. Because with CTFs, there is a solution. There is at least one solution. With bug bounties, you don't know if there is a bug or a solution.
Yeah, and then again, no, that's true. And I really enjoy, when you and I used to play around with Adam's CTFs that he made, the web-based ones that were really
CTFchallenge.co.uk, yeah.
Yeah, super realistic in their own way. Like, you had to do some recon.
He's in here too. Stuff. He's in the chat.
Oh.
What's up, Adam?
Oh, cool. Woo, woo. Shout out. and I really enjoyed those. They were so cool. And so to see the way that it's progressing nowadays with CTFs, because I see it kind of like going to the gym. A little bit like a practice round. If you want to be certain that there's going to be there's going to be an end or a light at the end of the tunnel, you can do a couple of CTFs for the fun of it, because it's just fun. You can have a couple of beers; it doesn't really matter that much. But in bounties, some people say it's not competitive, but I think it's really competitive because you're racing on time, especially on those challenges that are very short time based. Because you know that there's a couple of guys in here. It's first come, first serve kind of mentality. You want to get those good reports in, otherwise you're going to dupe out because they don't have time to fix the crits. I think that's interesting. Anyway, I got another question for you, and this is one of your favorite questions. And what does Recon mean to you?
Oof. So Recon, when I did my, it's the little things I called the presentation. I use the military term, like recon is the idea of like seeing your friendly and enemy areas when you're at war. Same thing with bug
Yeah.
bounties. You want to see what's out there. What if it's a company that says like Google, hey, hack us with anything you want to, anything that we own, then it's the same idea. What are those things that are considered to be in scope? What do they entail? What are those things that are out of scope that I just ignore? Those are my friendly areas that I could ignore and not go to war with. And you just it's understanding the target. This is everything they own. This is all the subdomains. These are what some of these subdomains run or look like, and then picking that target subdomain that you want to go after because it looks interesting to you, because there's a login page, or it's protected, it's a Apache default screen, whatever that indication is, and digging deeper and understanding why it's looking the way it does and what can you do with it.
So it's all about expanding the attack surface to know what you're looking at. How do you do then? I'm curious, because we're talking about now it's more like an asset kind of stuff. Would you consider going deep on an application being Recon as well?
Absolutely. So Airbnb was a great example. We did Airbnb Recon different than we did Recon on Verizon Media, for example, when we were hacking on both. It's the Recon thing changes. So if you're looking at a single application, you're mostly interested in JavaScript files, making sure you find these just brand new endpoints early on before they get pushed to the public, monitoring the JavaScript changes and so on, versus when you're doing a asset recon kind of a thing, then you're looking for subdomains that are getting spun up immediately, so you're the first to get to it.
Interesting. So what kind of tools do you then use if you want to do, let's say you want to monitor the changes for JavaScript files?
I used to not really monitor a lot because there are so many good hackers that do it. I just like finding new subdomains, random subdomains, and looking at them. But now with recon.dev, this is not released yet. Hopefully, once we're out of our beta, we'll release it. We actually have a diff endpoint that I hit that gives me the diffs of the last scan with the new scan based on the subdomain that I query. So if I say yahoo.com on diff, it tells me everything that was brand new since the last scan that we did. But I use a lot of, I think people have seen, I used to be a big fan of the IR search, still love it. The Argentinian hackers who wrote it, big shout outs to them. FFUF or Fuzz Faster You Fool, I think is what it stands for. FFUF, however you want to say it. Amass, not AMAS, it's Amass. I'm going to make sure I keep saying that. I like using Amass. I think Jeff Foley has done a lot of great work with it. Burp Suite it's a no-brainer. You have to have Burp Suite. I used Community Burp Suite for a while on my computer because I wanted to make it a point that you don't need to spend money on Burp Suite just to do some of these CTFs or do bug bounties at all. You don't need Intruder for bug bounties, really. Do it in Bash, do it in Python. You don't need it. What else?
You don't need it, but it's easy.
It's easy, absolutely, man. But I use proxy and repeater are what you usually need.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, of course. No, absolutely, you're right. Oh, cool.
What else? I think that's about it. Oh yeah, Eyewitness, Aquatone sometimes, and then I love OSINT with asset discovery. So Start.sh, Census, Shodan, Who is XML? Someone introduced me to. It's mind blowing. Whoisology and those kind of websites too.
There's so many good tools out there that. For me personally, I think I hear about a new one like every week, and then everybody's like, "Yeah, it's been around for years," but it's new for me, and I always fall in love with it and realize that it has all these cool features that maybe it just it kind of points you in the direction of something new that you haven't been thinking about before, and being able to chain those things together, just like let's say that. Corbin did with Gao, for instance, right? He took a lot of different repositories or sources together and he smashed it together, or Subfinder or Sublister and all these other domains or these tools where you can now just put in API keys, right? And they'll collect all the data for you. You're sitting there, or like Project Discover's Chaos, right? Mm-hmm. It's such a repository of data. And now with Recon.dev, there's so much information. One can simply not find it.
I forgot 2 tools. I got to give a shout out to these 3 tools. Gao is one of them. Absolutely, I completely forgot. And I've been religiously using Meg. Tom, if you're watching this, dude, Meg. I have a fun project hopefully with Meg soon, but Meg has been my go-to for a lot of quick scans. Um, it's
Now I
been
want
very
you to explain for me why you like Meg.
so. If you watch the DEF CON talk that we did with Tanner, if you're watching this, shout outs to you. We were spraying some like big orgs. I was spraying like 12,000 hosts. My IP was getting banned from this host like every day. I was spinning up a new box because I was aggressively querying .git files, and I think at some point they thought they were being legitimately attacked because of how much requests I was sending through Meg. And it wasn't just one box. It was like, okay, this box is just looking for API docs. Here's a list of all the things that I want to look for. This box is looking for actuators and Git folders and repositories and SVNs and that sort of stuff. And it just made it easy for me to get quick recon data. Like I knew this company makes these mistakes. They have 12,000 subdomains on recon.dev. Okay, Meg, you're up. See what you can find me. Yep.
Cool. I'm interested. Do you know if do Meg has support for proxy, so you can send it to, in theory, send it to Burp?
I don't know, to be honest, dude. I just spin up boxes and dump them. I just spin up
That
a
might
box.
just be too fast.
It's I use thanks to this promotion for the VPS that I put in there. People have been using it and they have been funding my VPS boxes and everything I do for the stream. I use that people that use that code. So I've gone enough to be able to spin up boxes to pretty much scale my Meg usage. You don't need to go that extreme, but it's just I had to do it because of the IP restrictions because I was
But
getting.
you can do it. You and since DigitalOcean charged by the hour, if you're using Axiom in a distributed way using interlace, you can use and it's defaulted with Meg. You're able to actually dump that list, scale it through like 5, 10, maybe 20 droplets, get all the data, put it back in, and you'll be over in a couple of minutes, and it'll be a lot of different endpoints for you. Try that out. It's a quick tip. Okay, let's see here. Here's another question. I know you were running Burp community, but I still need to ask you, is there any Burp plugin that you prefer?
I like productivity.
You can't say repeater now.
I like productivity tools on Burp. Like they used to have, I don't think you need it anymore, but the JSON formatting when we would make it nice with the beautifier, game changing. I started using Auth-Z for a little bit. It's all right. I like doing stuff manual, but it's been very helpful for pen tests where I don't have to do manual work a lot more. I can just automate it in the scan. I use Active Scanner and some of the other scanners. It's fun to have them running, but honestly, dude, like I only use Burp because I can't fuss fast enough using Google DevTools, the Chrome DevTools. I can't, it's easier to do a post request, put request, and manually fuzz it in the repeater. And I love Intruder. Turbo Intruder was really, really fun because, man, I'm blanking on the name. DevParam. DevParam had a very cool script for the desync stuff, the cache poisoning stuff that we would run through Intruder, and Turbo Intruder was fantastic for that case.
Yeah, so fast. I love it for race conditions since you can queue up all the requests and you smash it by the bit flip. I think that's really, really cool. So how do you pick a target? How do you explain for a beginner how to pick a target? There's two questions.
So I was gonna say that's a twofold question. The first one is, how do I pick a target?
How do you pick a target?
Depends. Like Red Bull wasn't really giving much, but who doesn't want to say I've hacked Red Bull? Which, by the way, if Red Bull, I need my fucking Red Bulls. Deliver them already. But
how much you got? You got a stack, right?
I have 21 cases coming.
Oh, okay. Well, I hope November's going to be over so you can add some little bit of vodka into that. Because otherwise, you're going to be sugared up.
I don't drink a lot of Red Bull. I've cut down on energy drinks for a few years, but I'm hopefully going to have a fort built up like right here of Red Bull eventually. But anyway, so Red Bull was one of them. Like, it's a high profile target. They're giving you something cool. Like, I could just take a picture and say, look, they sent me 20 something cases of Red Bull because I hacked them. Big names. Airbnb, I use Airbnb a lot. Shout out to them. Kadia, one of the nicest people I've ever worked with from Airbnb's team.
Mm.
They were really nice to me. I think I was wearing their hoodie the other day too. They also paid a lot. If you're paying me a good amount of money for an XSS, understand what a stored XSS could do, then that was a different story. And then scope, if it's a big scope, like Airbnb had a single application in scope, but they were massive. They have the hosting side, they have the guest side, and they have the corporate side. It is extremely massive, and it gave us a lot to chew on. So that's how I usually pick him. For beginners, however, you can do the same approach. I'm not saying that's not the right way to do it, but I'm saying if you're very, very new and you still want to learn, and this is something that I did early on, was find programs that are vuln disclosure programs, or don't pay a whole lot. Like they pay you maybe a few $100. There's nothing wrong with that because you're still learning. You're investing a year of your time into learning, and then once you get good at it, you can make the big bucks. And those always get you invited to private programs. Those are great ways to get a platform's attention. I know a number of hackers who got recognized on both HackerOne and Bugcrowd because they were submitting really, really good bugs just to a VDP. You found these on a VDP? Holy crap. Okay, let's see what you can do on a private program. Everybody wants to find those hackers, right? So pick a target like military sites, the Department of Defense, very good place to start. GM, Ford.
Only 4.5 million subdomains, so you got something to do.
I'm not saying like VDPs is the only way to learn, but if you're a new hacker, a company like GM or IBM or Sony, they're massive, massive, massive websites, and they have so many assets in scope that there's not everyone's looking at them. The top hackers aren't looking at them. People want to find bugs. Go learn there. Those skills are 100% transferable to a bug bounty program. But yeah.
Oh, that's really interesting. I like that approach because if you just want to hack, like we said, I don't know if I'm ready to hack. Go hack those and see what you got and get that thrill when you found that bug and you're happy about it. Send it in. If you're lucky enough, it's not going to be a dupe, but it's like there are certain of these big scopes that they don't tend to fix things.
Yeah.
Have you realized that?
Realize what?
And when you're finding a bug and it's a dupe and it's been there for 2 years.
Not the 2 years thing. So to be honest, like the 2 years thing, I don't know what kind of bugs those would be. I've had RCEs be dupes before where I've been like late by 3 report numbers. That's happened a number of times. Shubs and I messaged Shubs with a big curse word and a bunch of middle fingers one day, and I was like, "You mother, you this, you that, you beat me by like 3 reports." But yeah, I've had dupes. It's a part of the game. But honestly, like even if you're getting dupes on these VDPs, it's not like you lose out on money, right? You still found a valid bug. It shows that whatever you were doing worked. You just started out a little later than some other people did. Maybe you were still learning. Somebody else did it a little bit faster. I've had maybe some XSS that were low priority, like that were there for months at a time, which is kind of understandable on big organizations. I've worked in the bug bounty space. I've actually run a bug bounty program for a big corporation, and it's not as easy to get some of this stuff fixed. So I have a different outlook on bug bounties than most hackers do because I've been on the platform side of it. I've been on the triage side of it. I've been on the program owner side of it. So I'm an edge case of bug bounty hunters.
Interesting. So what are some of the mistakes that you made early in your career that you kind of wish that somebody has told you, like you're telling me right now?
I bitched a lot. I did the same thing that some of the new hackers do. Oh, this program is trying to take my money. It's not out of the engineer's pocket. Like the engineers aren't going, let me see my wallet. How much money do I have to give these ones? I don't want to pay them. No, they've already prepaid. More than likely, they've either prepaid for a budget or they have some sort of an agreement. Like they can't just say, oh, we don't want to pay this guy. Let's screw him. Like that's not how it works. There's a lot of contracts. There's a lot of other people involved in this process. I had it really bad. Like I had the same outlook. And at some point I was just like, no, like, fuck it. Like if I'm not going to make money from it, then whatever.
I think it's very important to understand there's 2 things that needs to go into that. And it's one, always be professional. You don't know who's on the other side of the report. And 2, never take any outcome personal.
Yep.
Because it has nothing to do with you. And if you're going to worry about what's going to happen, it's going to hurt you. So So those are my two takeaways to that for any beginner, is that don't take anything personal and always be professional.
The personal thing is the best advice you can give someone. The other thing is, the other mistake that I made was I think I started a little too late. I'm not saying it's a mistake that anyone could prevent, but it's just like, don't wait and say, I'm going to do it tomorrow. I'll look at it tomorrow. Just get up and do it. Like, just start spending some time. Make it a habit. Build the habit of doing it. Don't just do it one day and forget. Every day, from this hour to this hour, you don't have to get on your desk. Like, I used to watch TV. I used to get on the couch, watch TV, have something in the background, have a drink on the couch with my laptop, hacking for 3-4 hours while I did both. Like, if you're watching TV, put The Office on in the background and do something while your focus is going to be on hacking, but building that habit, man, like it's the biggest thing.
Yeah, it's that, it's like let's say that you want to be good at playing guitar. You need to practice how to strum a chord, and it's all that it muscle memory. When the muscle memory on how you switch to repeater in Burp is there, then you kind of made it. And because it's an important part of the whole process to always have your mind there. And I need to ask you this, and it might just be something we talk about later, but how do you balance that, though? It's easy to say that you need to invest all this time, but do you have any, do you schedule off time as well? Or are you always on?
Yeah, before I answer the balancing, somebody had said, like, hey, do you set up goals? So when I first started, I didn't set up goals monetary or daily. I just said, okay, I want to focus on SQL injection for this month. I'm going to look for nothing. It's going to be a priority. I'm going to look for SQL injection mostly, but if an XSS happens, cool. Like, I'm going to look for it. But the focus was on SQL injection. I want to find one. So set up goals. That's a great one. But get in the habit before you can set up goals, so you're not gonna fall short. And also write your goals. Don't just put them in here. There's something about writing down your goals that makes a huge difference. I don't know what it is. I have all of these, like, things that I've written down for goals. So yeah, set up goals. Balance. I love batching. I love batching my work. I work for so right now I'm doing 12-hour days. Unhealthy. Don't do it unless you're used to it. I'm working about 12 hours, 10 to 12 hours a day. 9 to 5 I work my day job. I still have a day job every day, Monday to Friday. Go to work 9 to 5. And afterwards, I usually try to get off at 4:30ish. I go on a run. This is very new. This is not something I've always done, but I go on a run to disconnect. Okay, work is done. No more thinking about work. Leave it behind. If something blows up, they will call you. They will text you. They will Slack you, whatever. Go on a run. Get home. Get ready for the next job, quote unquote. Whether it's making content, whether it's hacking, whether it's pen testing, whether it's whatever it is. Get into that habit. And I try to stop myself at around 10:30. So sometimes I play video games afterwards. So let's say at 9 o'clock I'm done working, 8:30. I try to be off by 10:30. No more screens after 10:30 on a weekday. And then I go read a book. So this way I completely shut off the whole screen thing behind on my mind, and just go read a book, something that disconnects you completely. And I do that for every day almost. Weekends are a little bit different because I don't have my 9 to 5. Like, I go out and do some other stuff, go run errands, whatever. But every 7 weeks, I try to take a week off. So this is actually my last week of streaming. I will not be around next week, unfortunately, because of Thanksgiving. But I take that weekend off. That gives me a weekend to myself. I can go travel. I can go on a hike. I can go visit family, friends. It's not that the streaming takes a lot of time. It's just the stress of I have to stream by this time to this time, and I have to plan everything around it. Everything around has to be planned. So batch your work. That's also with hacking. Batch your work. Do Recon for a long period of time. Done with Recon, do the next thing. But I batch a lot of it, and I work hard and I party hard afterwards. You got to do it. You have to give yourself a break. It doesn't have to be traveling. Go on a binging spree. Watch Netflix shows for a weekend. I took a Wednesday off, for example, this weekend because I couldn't focus anymore. I took an entire Wednesday off to myself and watched TV.
Interesting. I know it's quite new to you that you've been doing this challenge that you've been doing in November. You are on day 22 now. Um,
Yes.
do you think you're going to make it?
Oh, I know I'm gonna make it. I had a night when I almost broke on the 10th day of the challenge, and I
Yeah.
convinced myself that there's no giving up. And I went to bed. It was like 9:30, 10 p.m. And that's early for me to go to bed. I was like, dude, like you've done it for 10 days. Call it a night. Like have a good night, have a drink, whatever you want to do. I was like, no, we're going to bed. Like I literally turned the lights off, turned everything off, went straight to bed.
So, and I'm very, very proud of you because you passed 21. And 21 days is the amount of days it takes to create the habit. Anything from here, your next goal is to do 90 days. Where you pass that, it's a part of your lifestyle. But
Uh,
I think it's really, really cool what you've done so far. And have you seen any? What are the perks and what are the downsides that you found of this really hard regime of no drink, no nut, no fun?
the drinking thing. So there's a couple of things. The no nut thing doesn't really do anything. I don't know why we did it, but let's just get it out of the way. I know people are gonna ask me anyways. Let's talk about the no drinking. No drinking
Yeah.
on the weekends. I wake up at 9 a.m. on a weekend now. I'm not hungover. I'm not the grumpy, oh, what's going on? Like, I don't have that anymore. So my sleep schedule
Mm.
is back to normal. I'm probably going to keep it that way. It helps. The no
Mm.
social media, 1 hour of social media, that doesn't include my work. So at work, there's
Ah.
something I do. Like, if I have to post a content, I do it on my computer. I don't like Twitter on the computer
Mm.
anyways. It's ugly. Sorry. Like, I like the app. But posting
Mm.
content, I do it on the computer, interacting with people really quickly for a few minutes. I don't overdo it. But the hour of social media on my phone has given me so much time that I don't go lay on bed and go, okay, I'm going to take a break. And it's like an hour pass. I'm on social media, just
Mm.
scrolling. I don't have that anymore. And I get more stuff done. And just a combination of it all, like I also do the meditating thing. I read, and all these different things that I've built has given me a boost in productivity and focus. I'm actually
Mm.
able to do more stuff now because I got control of my brain. Nothing else controls it but me. I mean,
I think it's really, 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 really cool. And even though I'm not part of your adventure, I've been participating. I because I got really, really inspired when you guys did it,
yeah.
and I figured there's certain things that I'm going to do, certain things I'm not going to do. I didn't remove drinking, but I removed drinking to drinking 1 day a week. I stopped social media almost totally, and it gave me a lot of perks.
Yeah.
I feel better. I'm happy. I'm I'm a better person.
I think the biggest
And
thing out of this whole challenge, sorry to interrupt you, was the self control part of it. To being able to force myself to regain self control and not just, oh, it'll be fine. Like I'm no longer doing that.
and it's also that feeling of you're in it's a little bit of self-love because
Hmm.
you say I can do this, and then you do it, and then you feel great about it. I think it's a great thing. Okay, so we talked about routine. We have to talk about collaboration though, because the Apple boys did something amazing a while back, and Recon Dev, that's collaboration,
Yeah.
and all the work you've done um, with Syed,
Hmm.
you are a collaborative person. You collaborate with me,
Yeah.
so tell me about why you choose to collaborate.
I think it's just this is beyond bug bounties, like beyond hacking. It's
Mhm.
the learning human element of learning from somebody else. Like when you get a new job, you have someone training you. When you do school, you have people you study with, you do homework with. They teach you how they solve this problem. Like, oh, it didn't make sense. How did you do it? Oh, this is how I approach it. And you see how
Mm,
they're doing it, and you pick up on on these missing pieces. The
mm,
biggest one that was genuinely like life changing, I cannot like be thankful enough for it, was meeting Brett, aka Zayat. Zayat and I just reached out to him a bunch of times randomly over Twitter. Hey man, like I saw you hacking on this thing. Like, I saw you on this program. You want to, you want to share some knowledge. And then oh yeah, let's do this. We went to a Google Hangouts and then kept just, going back and forth. Him too, like, you know anything about this thing? Do you know anything about that? And we just came to a point where, like, okay, let's pick a target together, dude, and just hack and see what we find. No, everything is 50%. I think it was Airbnb that set it all off. Everything we make, 50-50. You take half, I take half. So there's no bad blood in any way at all. You put in the work that I put in, we all both make the same amount of money. But that just gave us a way to see, oh, holy crap, Brett does this payload this way because in this other engagement that he has done, it's worked out for him. And then I would tell him for like this vulnerability type, this is how I exploited it. And he goes, oh, I didn't know this one existed. How did you find it? I'm like, I don't know. I was just Googling random stuff and I came across it. And the idea of learning this way, it goes with content creation, dude. Me and you, like with the lighting thing, I came to you and I was like, hey, dude, like I did lighting. You're like, oh no, put this light over here, dim this one, put that back there. We've been back and forth about other stuff. Like, it's just how it worked. It's just you learn from other people, and it's the biggest, single best tool you can ever have in learning in anything in your life. Finding people with the same goals, same knowledge, and interests as you have.
And that's true. And but also, you're through your life, right? You're how old are you now?
I am 30 officially now. I'm 30 on the dot. I'm an old wise guy now, as I call it.
Perfect.
With lots of stories. Back in my old days. Back in my days. I can say
Back
that.
in my days, we had modems.
We used to walk 3 miles to school there and then 3 miles back in a snowy weather.
Yes, and there were no buses and electricity.
Yeah. Oh, hey, hold on. Sorry, I gotta give a shout out. Patrick is in the chat. IT security guard. I just gotta say a shout out to him. What's up, Patrick? I'm glad he's in here. He's another person. See, we said collaboration and he jumped in. He was the first. I said Brett. I take it back. Brett was the best one that I've done with, but he was the first time I reached out to InfoSec. And we did XXC together. And I never forget, in his interview that I did, we talked about it too.
Yep.
Awesome friend. He's one of my oldest.
I interview yesterday, so I'm gonna listen to the full one.
He's another person that was a very good person to collaborate with and learn with each other.
So I remember when I met both of you guys at H1702, and both of you were vlogging, or Patrick was thinking about vlogging. I know you were doing it, and I was standing there with a camera. I didn't know how to hack, but that was so cool. I'm very blessed to have been able to meet both of you in real life when this thing, before everything just got trashed and nobody can travel. So I'm very happy about that. But I have to ask you, you are now 30 and you passed through your life. Have you had any mentors along your way that really, made an impact on your life?
So many, man. So there's direct mentorship and indirect mentorship. There's people that you work with. Zayed, indirect mentorship. We learn from each other. He showed me his ways. I showed my way. Patrick, same thing. You, same thing. Like, these are people that you collaborate with, you learn from. It's an indirect thing, right? Directly, so many, dude. So many. I'm going to try and do 5 that I can think of. If you're not on here, I'm so sorry. It's not that I forgot, but I know 4 off the top of my head. First and foremost, Jonathan Cran. He was a very good friend, a very good mentor. He tried to mentor me early on when I was very stubborn, and he showed me some really cool stuff. He looked after me. Like, I am genuinely happy that I had him in my life for that short amount of period of time. The second one is Jason Haddix. So this is also an indirect one. He didn't directly mentor me in hacking or anything, but I went to DEF CON. The first time I spoke at DEF CON, I went to DEF CON with Haddix. And dude, I'm walking with this. Yeah, I'm walking with this guy, and every 2 minutes we get stopped. Someone saying hi to him. What's up? What's up, man? What's up? Like, I've seen this. You did this. Like, what's up? And I'm like, dude, who is this guy? Like, I want to be him. Like, I want to be like him, dude. I want to go to conferences and have friends and like be a speaker and do all of these things. And I told him on his interview the same thing. I ended the interview saying, I want you to know, I became a conference rep because of you. I blame you for getting me addicted to this thing. And he was a great part of that. Like, huge influence on showing me, hey, there is this community of conferences, these friends that you meet once every year. Besides Portland is one of them for me. ShellCon is one of them for me. DEF CON obviously is one that you go to every year. Besides San Francisco, like you go to them and they become your friends. I learned that from Haddock, so big shout outs to him. Third one is this gentleman that goes by the name of Junot. I will not say his full name. I don't know if he wants to be. If you were an old school bug bounty hacker on Yahoo, you've seen this name, Junot. He also indirectly mentored me with showing me. So he actually helped me build my resume together. He was like, hey, do you want to come and intern at Yahoo? It didn't work out. That's completely fine. But he helped me understand how a resume works for tech companies. He reviewed my resume and he helped me build it, and he would give me feedback in private, telling me like, hey, like you should do it this way next time, say this thing, or interact this way. And he had an impact in my career, man. Like very, very early on. This is in 2014, 2015. Andrew, like if you ever watch this, thank you. Can't be thankful enough. And I've also brought this up to some of the folks that work on his team. When I see them, I'm like, this is the guy that helped me when I didn't know what to do. And the fourth one, there's three more I'm going to do. The fourth one is Robert Abma at HackerOne, co-founder, who was the reason who I blame for getting hired at HackerOne. He showed me the what you said, don't take things personal. Money isn't happiness. Not everything is this. Like the personal things that he had gone through, and he shared them with me. And it was not so much about, I'm going to teach you the way, but we worked so closely that I was like, dude, like, I've learned from him. There's next two that are all co-workers again. Ning Wang, former CFO at HackerOne, currently CEO at Offensive Security, folks behind OSCP. She showed me how to get better at just corporate work, man. Like being, what ROIs are, OKRs are, like work-wise. Great mentor. And then last but not least, this is the biggest and the best one. It was one of my greatest friends of all time, and I appreciate this person so much. Luke Tucker, my current boss right now, who was my friend, a co-worker first before he became my boss. Now he's a boss, a friend, and a mentor, and someone who is a big part of my life, and I appreciate him so much. So Luke is another one that's given me some really good books to read, good advice on life, some really good quotes he gave me in our meetings, and I can't be thankful to have him around. Thankful enough to have him around.
It's an amazing list, and I have to personally say, Haddix and you on that talk is what inspired me to start doing the things that I do. So it's a continuous loop. It's feeding through. Yeah. You said you want to do all these things. I latched onto that, and I followed in your footsteps. So yeah, thank you very much for deciding one day to do that. Wow, that's cool. And such a great list of mentors, epic people, all of them. And I can see how they shaped you in many, many different ways. Wow, that's so cool. So we got some question to continue on with. How much time do you spend hacking in, let's say, a week or a month? How do you want to do it?
Let's do a week. Right now, because I'm working on side projects and other stuff, not a whole lot. Maybe if I have an engagement, then 15, 20 hours. The 20 hours is usually the mark. Like I'll never take up more than 20 hours of hacking, whether it's a pen test contract or bug bounties. That was how much I spent. But when I was doing bug bounties, so I went to this period of my life when I was working full time and doing bug bounties, and I wanted to heavily make money from it. It was when I wanted to buy a house, I wanted to buy a car. So I did a lot of it by setting up a goal. I would tell myself $8,000 a month. If I make $8,000 a month, that's equivalent to almost $100K a year. $96,000, right? Yeah. 96,000, almost 100K. That's a 6-figure salary. That was my goal. So if I make $8,000, I'm done. If I make that in a few weeks, done for the rest of the month. I would go back if I was like, okay, I'm not feeling burnt out. I have the productivity, I have the energy. Let's make it 16 this month. There was a month that I hit 30K. I was like, okay, like next month, I don't have to go in too hard. I'm still going to try to get 8K, but if I end up at 6,000, I'm not going to be upset. And there was months that I would only make 5,000. I would make 6,000, right? For those months, then I would do something different. I would say next month, I'll make up for it. The next 2 months, I have to do $10,000. that was when I actually knew what I was doing with hacking. But before that, I did an unhealthy amount of working. I would wake up at around 8 o'clock, 7:30 in the morning, hack, go to class, skip class sometimes, or even in class, open up my laptop and hack, go home, hack till 11, and then go to bed. Repeat every day until I got better at it. And then I realized it's unhealthy. I'm not spending time with family and friends. Got to make it better. So I limited it to, okay, when I watch TV, 3-4 hours a night. Because TV is a time suck, dude. You don't understand how much TV you watch until you replace it with something else. So I made it into a habit.
TV for 10 years.
Good. I watch Netflix now because I like to watch some shows here and there, but I don't watch live TV anymore.
No, I'm gonna buy a TV though, because I realize I have these fucking small screens everywhere.
Yep.
So why not give you one of those 70 inches instead? Get some Bounties and buy one of those for the fun of it. And hey, need to ask though, did you pre-order the PS5?
I got a PC now. I'm just gonna stick on paying on my PC.
You're PC now.
I may get one.
Why do one where you can have both? I know you have a TV in your bedroom.
I'm gonna probably get the second generation of PS5 when it comes out, or Xbox, whichever one I end up with. The first one's always garbage. I feel like they make them smaller afterwards. I'm just gonna wait. PC is good enough right now.
Not a fanboy, I hear. Okay. Imposter syndrome.
Oh.
Have you had it?
Have I had it? I still have it every day of my life. Every day I go on Twitter.
How can you have it? I'm going to throw things at you because you are head of education at HackerOne. You're an extremely successful bug bounty hunter, and you have so many cool rewards that you won through your days, and you made a lot of money. You've spoken at international conferences. You traveled the world. You have a great, super huge reach on social media, and you have a very successful Twitch stream. Why the fuck do you have imposter syndrome?
There's always someone better, man. Like, you're never the smartest person in the room. And that room that I'm in is the fucking internet.
Yeah.
So there's always somebody smarter, man. Like, take the life hacking events. I go in there and these hackers are like clearing out thousands of dollars in a day, and I'm like rooting for them. Yay, we just paid $1 million. I didn't make a dime from this, but like so-and-so made like a huge percentage of this, right? So like, you get imposter syndrome. I go to a conference, here I am talking about SSRF, and like this other person is like, oh, I owed Apple like with this bug, and I'm just like, okay, all right, like back to the drawing board, right? It's just there's so many better people, man. Like I know I've came to the point that I tell myself, look, dude, like the same thing you have told me. You have been accepted to these different communities. You have gone to these different conferences. Like, you're not an imposter. You just don't know everything. You just got to learn more and more and stay in the habit of wanting to learn every day. So it's never going to go away. It's just I can control it now better. When I see someone posting like, oh, I just did this thing, or I found this bug, and I'm like, I wish I knew how to do that. I'm going to learn this thing. I'm going to find a way to learn it. I'm going to reach out to people. I'm like, hey, can you show me how you learned this? You don't have to give me the answer, but can you show me how you did it so I can do the same thing?
And it's so important, the whole process of understanding that, especially in our field where you're not better than the latest firmware. That's kind of how it works, because it's always something new coming out, and it's always that FOMO, the fear of not understanding or missing out on something because everybody's onto it, but you're not. But as soon as you realize that, okay, cool, I'm in this for life. I've chosen to be in a part of industry and a community where it's constant growth. And as long as you grow, it's all good. Yeah. So always be the humble student. And you will be more humble. The more you know, the less you understand that you know. So, I definitely understand what you're saying. But I think you're kind of, even though you have imposter syndrome, a little bit of extra self-esteem wouldn't look bad on you, because you well deserve it.
It's not that I think that I'm an imposter now. I've came to terms that you're gonna. There's always a smarter person in the room. You can try and become that. You can try and learn from them and become as smart as them. But when you become smart as this person has somebody else to look up to. It's just a balance. It just keeps going up.
That's true. But you also need to realize if you're in a room with a lot of people and they are specialists in certain areas and you haven't studied that area,
Yep.
that's cool too.
Yep.
You know,
Absolutely.
then they can use ask them. And I think the most interesting thing is that if you have the possibility to, and anyone can do this, but if you have the possibility to remove fear of looking like an idiot and just ask the person to explain something for you, most people that know something very, very well will gracefully just explain it in layman's term for you to understand. Somebody that doesn't know it that well, it's going to be an ass.
Yeah.
So just people usually just tell how it works. You've been on this. I know you had some issues during the summer. You weren't feeling too good, and that led out to you doing this big challenge right now. Were those burnouts?
Some of it was burnout, some of it was pressure, and some of it was just pure anxiety and depression, man. Like a lot of the viewers don't know, but I streamed throughout my depression and anxiety because I had a schedule to keep up with. And then at some point when I disappeared for a few weeks, I was just like, nope, my health is more important. I'm going to take as much time as I need. The thing with like content creation, man, it's like if you're not out there for long enough and you fall off for a while, it's going to be hard to recover. I'm still recovering from it. It's completely fine because it's just a bunch of made up fucking numbers. Like the numbers are going to go up eventually. You just have to put in the hard work again. But it was just a combination of everything. The pressure from work, the pressure from all these conferences I was organizing and talking to. DEF CON was happening. At the same time, I was organizing ActivityCon. I was doing streams. I was doing work. I was doing bug bounties. And I was depressed and I had anxiety. And people were being rude on Twitter about content creators and bug bounties. And it was just a giant bubble that ended up just blowing in my face.
How did you cope with that though?
I just went away. I took 2 weeks off. I didn't do anything. Things got worse, to be honest. But it was 2 weeks off of not worrying about streams. I took more time to myself after I came back. I was supposed to be back like end of August. I ended up not coming back on stream till mid-September. I just cut out everything that was negative in my life. I don't need people that are negative in my life. I will block people, mute people on Twitter. I will not answer DMs anymore that people are just being rude. I was just trying to explain myself, and I don't need to explain to anybody anymore.
No, not at all.
Right.
You don't owe anyone anything.
But it's just the element of wanting to help people, man. Like I want to help other people, but I realize like I'm going to help people that want to be helped. If you send me a real question without saying, hey, give me this, I will answer it. But it's a combination of everything. But the biggest one, man, was like getting control of my brain and building healthy habits, eating well, sleeping really good, changing the music that I listen to. Like I was listening to some really depressing music for a while. The eating and exercising, dude. Like the days that I don't run, I have a very hard time dealing with stuff. But the days that I go out and if I can't run because my legs hurt, I go on a longer walk. I did 45 minutes of walking yesterday, almost an hour. The day before that, I usually run for 30 minutes, but I sat down, my legs were hurting, but I was like, I have more energy. I want to get running. I went and did another couple of laps around my neighborhood because I just needed to. And the thing that I do is I count while I run. I literally count to 60 until I'm done for 30 minutes. Yep. You will see my hands going like this while I run sometimes, like I'm counting. Because it makes me focus on counting and nothing else in the world. And when I do drift off, I snap back. I start over again. 1, 2, 3, 4.
But you understand that's meditation in motion, right?
Yep. I didn't know this though. Somebody told me this just recently. They told me like, what you're doing is no different than meditating. You're just not doing you're doing a different sort of it. So I meditate that way. And it helps me not worry about anything in the world. Take care of yourself, man. That's all I gotta say is you gotta take care of yourself.
Super important. And if you ever end up doing yoga and other stuff, you'll realize that you're counting breaths there as well. Yeah. So counting things are really cool. So you know what? We went through all the questions that are usually asked during a typical interview on the Nahamsek Live Recon stream. But before we end the questions games, where you usually stop off and play around with asking singular questions, And no, that's the word game. We're going to do the question game. But do you have any advice for new hackers in the scene?
Absolutely, man. Like, biggest thing is, let's do it 3 things. Stop with the excuses. Get on the computer and do it today. Like, this is coming from someone who made a lot of excuses in his life. Up until recently, actually. But stop with the fucking excuses. Get to it.
Professional procrastinator.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm guilty. guilty. But stop with the excuses. Just get to it. Just do it. I'm not endorsed by Nike. Just do it. 2, learn. Get in the habit of learning and hacking every day. Make it a habit that you're going to either learn through hacking or you're going to learn something that you're going to use for your hacking. That's the biggest one. Build healthy habits, whether it's hacking, whatever. But if you're trying to get into bug bounties, make it a habit of every day I'm going to spend this many hours. Trust me, there's 16 days there's 16 hours in a day. You sleep for 8, you work for 8, you have another 8 hours. Stop with social media and Reddit and YouTube and whatever else you're into. Get to it. And 3, let go of payloads and scanners. Go back to the basics. Read them on your own. Understand how things work and invest the time. Don't try to look for shortcuts. You're never going to go far with shortcuts. It's never going to work. And don't give up. I know I said 3, but don't give up. There are tons of people out there. There's tons of resources. You have everything you need. You just have to put in the time. It doesn't happen overnight. It's never happened overnight.
No, that's true. And for those people that it happens overnight for, that it seems to that they happen overnight, usually 1 to 2 years before they were unseen.
Yep.
And then it just seems to happen. Where do you think the industry is heading right now?
Oh, Ash's question.
We're talking about bounties, though. So where do you think bounties going?
So this is called the Ash Fox question of the day. So I think bug bounties are going to become, this is, by the way, my opinion and not my employer's. I think bug bounties are going to become more of a norm. More companies are going to at least do a VDP of some sort, of one disclosure program, to want to work with hackers. And I think in the next 5 years, man, there's going to be more Fortune top, whatever, 500 companies are going to want to work with hackers and pay them than ones that don't. There is a proof of concept for it now. We have proof that this thing works. Hackers are finding great stuff in your products and in your websites. So I think more and more companies are going to come around and want to do this. And more governments, hopefully.
Yep. Hopefully. Unless they're already playing on CNAC. Who knows?
Yeah.
Okay. Question game. What program would you hack on forever?
I would hack on... That's such a hard question. I'm sorry, program. Verizon Media, maybe Airbnb. I haven't hacked on them in a while. I think Verizon Media because of how big it is, but they're so hard to hack on that it's impossible almost. I have a private program
they've been hardened over the years, man. Their hardening's like.
I want to say Verizon Media just because of how big it is and how much more stuff I have. One of those, Google. Oh, Apple actually. Apple is a huge one. I would love to do Apple for the rest of my because they pay a lot of good money too. And final answer. Lock it in. Apple.
Apple's going to be it. First bug you found?
First actual bug that I found was an XSS, a self-XSS that has CSRF, I think, attached to it that got paid out on BugCrowd, I want to say. I'm not sure.
First bounty getting paid?
So first bounty was $250, and I'm pretty sure I bought groceries with it.
That's cool. That's good. That's a good thing. Like take care of yourself. Buy groceries. Yeah. That's a good thing. Your favorite bug type?
Oh, SSRF. I live for SSRF.
Could it be also in a PDF kind of parser?
Specifically in a PDF, yes.
It begins with a W, and it's going to be great. Yep. Speaking of that, I know you've been doing some pen testing lately. Mm-hmm. Could you tell us about the bug that you found the other day? I saw a tweet 9 hours ago, or 19 hours ago now.
It was just a PDF generator that I kept trying to break for 20 hours. I spent my entire contract last week almost trying to break it, but it didn't work because when you go to a site to give you data that's there, you edit the data, you're trying to manipulate it to go into the PDF. But guess what? It wasn't being manipulated. And I was just being lazy because the process of creating new data was like a 30-minute long, 20-minute long time. So every time I want to do it, I have to fill out this giant form for 20 minutes. You can't automate it because there's CSRF protection there. There's manual questions you have to answer based on the other question. It's just a weird thing that you had to do. It worked.
And it will give you a PDF of the results or something. Is that it? Okay.
And it took me a very long time to do it. I finally did it, and it felt so good. It felt so great because I looked at this PDF the first day last week, and I was like, I'm gonna own this at some point. And it happened on accident. I was like, oh, what? Like this HTML injection is showing up. Why? Like I forgot I've done the new process. And I was like, you mother bleeper! Like I had to start the whole thing all over again. I did it like 30 times last night, 40 times maybe last night. I spent 3 hours just filling out forms.
That's the Franz Rosen kind of persistence. Go through each and every most boring part of that, and you will find the crits. That's been there for ages.
Consistency is key.
That's how it works. And a big accomplishment, purchases you done with Bounties.
So when you asked me my first bounty, the first good ever purchase I got was 3 SQL injections from Yahoo. That got me paid out a total of $9,000. I went straight to a dealership and bought a car. I bought a 330 CIC convertible BMW, which was my baby. I don't have the car anymore. I don't have that car anymore. But that was the flip in my head, the switch that flipped. It was just like, dude, you just bought a car from bug bounties.
What?
Like, what else can you buy? And then I just started doing more of it. Beautiful house that I live in now. The office that I just got redone already is done because of bug bounties.
Which looks dope.
Thank you, sir. But everything here you see, my vehicle outside, travels that I've done, practically anything, man. Like my career, it's not even a monetary thing, dude. The career that I have today is because of bug bounties, because I got hired at bug bounty platforms, because I make content on bug bounty hacking. Everything is pretty much a bug bounty thing, and it's insane to think. 16-year-old me was like, there's no future in hacking. And I was 26, I realized, dude, there is a future in hacking. There is, it's happening. We're living it.
And everything I got here is from Bounties. And I started like 2 years ago. 2.5 now.
And the beauty of it is, it's not just us two, dude. It's not just us two. There are hundreds and thousands of hackers who have the same similar stories.
Yeah. It's definitely a life changer. Bounties changed my life. And I can say that with pride and joy, that the community that surrounds it, people like yourself, changed my life. And I'm very, very grateful to be here. And it all thanks to bug bounties.
And then friendships too, man. Like friendships is another one. Like the friendships I've made from people that I would have never met you. I would have never met Zayed. I would have never met Donut, Ash, like tons of people that I talk to daily. There's so many people that came out of like, this Olivier, Patrick. There's so many people that I've met because of bug bounties. But yeah, there's a lot of monetary goods and personal, like non-monetary things that have happened because of bug bounties. Hacking and bug bounties specifically.
That leads us over to the part of the question where you get to do any shout outs to anyone you like. So shout out away.
So you're going to get you out of the way, but let's see. Oof. Let's do Zayed. There's so many. I'm just going to think of whoever comes in. Zayed, Donut, ZLZ, Shubs, yourself. You're like an edge case. Like I think you've been around for way too long now. I did say ZLZ. God, Joel Morgolis, Techno Geek, awesome dude. Mason has been a great friend. Who's all out there? I'm trying to think of everybody. I'm blanking.
But you don't.
Olivier, Patrick.
You got Haddix. You got
Haddix, Gilbert Atma.
You got Tanner.
Tanner, yes. There's so many people, man. There's so many. I can't just pick some. Tom for his awesome tools, awesome knowledge sharing.
Mega Boy. Yep. All the fam. No, it's amazing. And man, Fuck, I love all those guys.
I miss
Cool.
seeing you, man. I miss seeing those guys.
Oh, any hackers that you would like to collaborate with? And it can be the ones that you already had collaborated with.
France has been, I think, the most. Oh, Yassine is another one. We gotta shout out Yassine. Sorry. Yes, Yassine is another one. But I've never collaborated with Yassine. I would love to collaborate with him. France is one of the ones that I've always wanted to collaborate, but he's imposter syndrome. Like, I can't keep up with France, dude. What the fuck am I gonna contribute to? He's gonna be fine by himself. Recently, I got to collaborate with like Matthias and Shubs, which were on top of my list. Nafi was one that I've recently gotten to do, which is great. Honestly, man, the thing with me is, if I want to collaborate with someone, I'm reaching out. I've reached out to a number of people. Like I've reached out to Andre OXCB. I've reached out to Joel. I've reached out to anybody I want to collaborate with. I'm like, hey man, like, do you want to look at this target together? Rhino is another one that I've loved working with. It's just I reach out to them. I'm like, hey, I think you're doing this thing, or I see you on this program. Would you like to collaborate more? Eric, today's new. I would like to collaborate with him and see how I can contribute to his automation game, but I feel like he's got enough for him to not worry about me.
You just need to base 64 him a new subdomain takeover one-liner that he can put everywhere.
Nathan, make that into a t-shirt. He said, call it collab, bro. Make it a t-shirt that says collab, bro, and I'll wear it.
Collab, bro. Yep, that's going to be a thing. Okay. Favorite tools?
Favorite tools, obviously DIR search and FUF, both. Burp Suite I can't say because it's already given. Meg, Gao or Wayback URLs, both equally are great. Eyewitness and Aquatone equally great. Cert.sh. I'm not gonna plug myself and say Recon.dev, but Cert.sh, Shodan, Census, and I think that's about it. And then Bash. Bash is the...
I'll do it for you, though. Have you heard about this really cool new service called Recon.dev?
No, what is it?
Such a cool tool. All the cool kids are using it. It's like an API where you can get all this cloud data that's been collected that goes into... They just go through and look for anything that's in the certificate. So you get all this cool data, and now they are probably going to get monitoring when they're past the beta release. Wow, you should really check it out.
Big shout out to Tanner. This is Tanner mostly. Big shout out to him. He's a monster, crazy engineer. I don't know how he does it, man. I don't know how this guy's brain operates. Mind blown.
His brain operates in a way that he can't remember. He can't see or remember faces. I can't remember. I saw the tweet that he posted. It was really weird. It was funny. Oh no, he can't think about things. I think fantasies. Like if I say, "See yourself standing on a beach," and he can't see that.
Yeah.
Anyway, cool. Okay. Do you have any hobbies outside getting smashed and playing Call of Duty?
Recently, the running thing has been a great habit and great hobby. I'm starting to go to like these trails, to walk trails now that it's a little bit nicer and not raining. Reading, I've been enjoying reading books. I don't like stories and stuff like that, but I like reading books about habits and any topic that I'm interested that's about life and skills that you need to have to go through life. That's been a really good one. I don't have a weird, like, binge watching Netflix is one as a hobby sometimes. Photography was one when I traveled. I wanted to be one of those like iPhone travel photographers, and I did it for a very long time, and it was very, very fun. That was another one. Photography was very, very fun. It gave me a reason to go walk around, look at sites, and take photos for myself, and I have a ton of them on my phone now.
Have you posted them?
They're on my Instagram, so if you want to go see my old videos, I don't know what... Oh, there we go. Someone beat me to it. It's in the chat. I'll copy and paste it for people that are watching the VOD. If you want to give me a follow on social media, here's mine. And can somebody drop Stokes in there so it shows up right under mine? One of the mods, please. Stoke Frederick on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
Go follow him as well.
All the places. Okay, we're closing in on the end, my friend. So it's time to play the infamous word game. And it's going to work the way where I'm just going to say a word, and you will say the first thing that comes into your head, even if it's a sentence or a word.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I am ready as I could be.
Awesome. Homework.
Painful.
Mental health.
Very important. Prioritize it or you will pay the price later.
Running.
Meditation.
Out of scope.
Don't do it. Please don't.
PHP.
Fun and a good topic to discuss with hackers who don't like it.
Club Kids.
Fun days.
Airbnb.
Ooh, tough.
2014.
When it all began.
Awesome. Wow, Ben, it's been such a pleasure having you on the show. It's been something that I've been dreaming on, having you to come on the show and talk about yourself on your own show. For it's been in the making for years now, it feels. I'm very, very grateful for you allowing me to interview you on your own show. And I hope you enjoyed your own special episode.
Great, man. Hey, before we end this, thank you so much, man, for doing this. We talked about this, and I'm gonna kind of say this. Like, people have been asking for me to do this for a while, and I couldn't think of a better person to do this. You know, having the conversation with someone who has the same experience, who has the background context of who I am and how I operate. It's been great to have you as someone to do this. It couldn't have been done any better, man. Thank you so much for doing this. It was a pleasure having you on the show again. Hopefully we can have more of these. It's been a while since we have done our STOK and Ben hack adventures, but this was great. I missed working with you, and this was a great way of. We don't get to hang out anymore. That picture that we have of us giving each other a big hug in LA. We haven't had one of those in a while. This is the closest next thing. So I appreciate you so much. Thank you for being you. Thank you for everything you do for the community, and thank you for being a friend and doing this for me.
It's amazing. I'm very grateful to be here. And to everyone that's been watching, thank you. Stay curious. Bye.